Our immune system consists of many defenses against pathogens and disease, and our bodies are capable of producing cellular bodies that serve as the security bent on taking down foreign pathogens once they infiltrate our system. These cell bodies are called leukocytes, commonly known as the white blood cells. Now the leukocytes, or the white blood cells, come from the same family as, no surprise, the red blood cells. All of these cells start off as stem cells called hematocytes. White blood cells come in varieties and all have different jobs, some have jobs more specific than others. We'll first look at the non-specific or innate immunity. These defenses are built in to generally take out any kind of foreign invader that may come in. They consist of the basophils, eosinophils, neutrophils, macrophages, and the natural killers. In a situation when your skin tissue may break, like with a cut, pathogens may take the chance to come in. Basophils essentially recruit more white blood cells through vasodilation to a local area by releasing histamine that makes the endothelial cells permeable for neutrophils to come out and do the dirty work. Now the basophils also secrete heparin, which is an anticoagulant, preventing clotting so the white blood cells coming has enough time to enter the inflamed site. The extra blood around the cut explains why the area is so red. Neutrophils are strong phagocytes, which means they're really big eaters. They will essentially nom nom on any pathogens and break them down in a process called phagocytosis. Macrophages are also big eaters, hence the name. Like the neutrophils, they digest cellular debris, foreign substances, microbes, and cancer cells. Macrophages also team up with the neutrophils by releasing cytokines. They're kind of like cookie crumbs to help direct all neutrophils toward their target. Oh, and the eosinophils like to attack worm parasites. They're not as strong of eaters like its cousins, the neutrophils and the macrophages, but they get the job done. And they also so happen to expel their mitochondrial DNA to trap parasites. So that's a bonus. And oh yeah, the natural killers. The natural killer cells survey the immune system, and when they spot invaders, these ninja assassins will brush up against the invading bodies and transfer a chemical called perforin into the foreign cells that penetrates and lyses them until those cells are no more. An interesting thing about the natural killers, even though the basophils, eosinophils, neutrophils, macrophages, and the natural killers are all leukocytes, natural killers belong in a specialized classification of leukocytes known as the lymphocytes. Along with the natural killers, lymphocytes are comprised of the B cells and the T cells. These cells are a part of the specific immune system. Unlike its non-specific cousins, the B and T cells are designed to memorize and attack one particular foreign body. This is done by reading off of antigens, which are essentially the name tags of cells. B and T cells will have antibodies designed to complement an antigen of that of a specific cell. Once there is a match, it's time to attack. T cells, which are made from the thymus, help with cell-mediated immunity, which means it provides cellular defense. B cells made in the bone marrow help with humoral immunity, meaning it has the job of making antibodies and releasing it into the fluids. Now the T cells have a bunch of different roles. There are helpers, memories, killers, and suppressors. When macrophages digest foreign bodies, they present the antigens of the digested foreign body along with the MHC2 protein to the helper T cells. The helper T cells receptors will reconfigure to respond only to that specific antigen. Before the pathogens may return, those cells remain dormant as memory cells. Once those pathogens with the same antigens come back into the system, the helper T cells will activate upon binding its receptor to the pathogen. Now killer T cells are the kinds of cells you do not want to mess with. When a nucleated cell in the system goes AWOL or cancerous, it will present a designed antigen along with the MHC1 protein to attract a specific killer T cell. Now this particular T cell will come over and put an end to the infected cell's miserable life before it infects its neighbors. Killer T cells have three distinctive ways of dealing with specific infected cells. There is apoptosis, introduction of perforin, or poisoning the cell with lymphotoxic molecules. And the suppressor T cells basically keep all of these lymphocytes from attacking normal cells, but only remains dormant long enough for the lymphocytes to kill off the foreign cells first. Now this is a weird way to start, but B cells begin as virgin cells until they are exposed to the presence of foreign bodies with particular antigens. They become memory B cells by remembering the configuration of those antigens to make antibodies for the next time the same pathogenic cells return. The B cells are activated once they receive the message from the helper T cells that there are foreign cells with a configuration for a specific antigen. B cells will become plasma cells, churning up antibodies designed to flag down invaders with the particular antigen it was assigned. The antibodies will then signal and recruit phagocytic cells to gobble up and kill the foreign cells. Now the thing about the specific immunity though, it doesn't work right away in fighting off pathogens if they were never introduced to them before. The arsenal of lymphocytes is endless as long as we are exposed to pathogens for our lymphocytes to remember and attack for the next time. Whew, that was a lot of information, but this is enough to show how vital our white blood cells are to our own health and in the natural healing process against the germy germs and the cuties that constantly try to make us sick. These different types of lymphocytes and leukocytes, specific and non-specific, are what protects us. These are the cells that make up our immune system.